fame. Some prisoners of war betrayed by our own, others chained. Some stolen from the shores by a foreign man we never seen before. Families torn, put in chains, a chattel slave trade. Black bodies chained with bird mane. Many tongues speaking the same pain. Confused, I can't understand the damn thing. Worldview rearranged, that don't mean castle case. Somebody say your shit flowing boards, feet lusting for my soul. What the fuck is going on? And I a woman, somebody just jumped overboard. Crossed the Atlantic, skin branded, left stranded, laid in fractions, hard and fragments, captured, deemed a savage, pull my body down.
It's not a first thing. I don't know what your experience has been, and the history behind it, the terrorism that black people have faced in this country. I mean, sheer terrorism. For centuries, not 5 minutes, not 6 weeks, not a short period of time. Centuries of terrorism. Linguistic, physical, psychological, emotional, sexual terrorism.
White man crushed my wound, shattered, scrape, break, bad, another miscarriage. Be born to a fire, flashbacks, the middle passage, spoon fashion, semen, blood, urine, dragon, human organ splatter, scattered across Caribbean, Carolina, reduced to fraction, divided by my black vagina. Entering the battle in the so-called new world. Look at this nigga girl on Iroquois, peak why earth you up first, smile, teeth strong, assess my worth. On this auction block, they say I'm right for birth, strong stock. Look at my butt socks here, like why you need brush, not nothing pretty to rub hot. Behind my chest, heart beats the first seeds of hip hop. Fire burning rages, gun cock, my water breaks, the beat drops. Might cause bomb me, stop, rewind me, let my memories rock. Enemies drop, oh Lord, let us fast forward, promise to let my tape rock.
All of the things about race and racism and oppression that you do not hear in commercials.
No cause,
for the purposes of our defense, or even showing police doing something wrong, or housing discrimination. I can list everything here. You never see BET won't even consider playing it. But when it comes to raising the question,
sometimes I want war for these motherfuckers, and I'm restrained, nigga, negro, color, nigga, bitch, hoe, Mammy, harlot, minstrel, Aunt Jemima, kinfolk, Nicki Minaj, instrumental, Sister Stomp Harbor, we forced to tiptoe, 3/5 of a human, 2/5, cause you woman, abandoned, Oshun, praying for Christ, second coming, jobbing, shucking, corn, word is born, used to sing work songs about being free, now freedom comes wrapped in porn, buying European wigs, Italian designers, Manolo, Blonde, Gucci, and Prada, somebody, baby mama, rhyme about the dollar, identity, draped in melt desire, the illusion of free, we for higher, and buying power, who got it last week, we were breastfeeding, they will sell our children as slaves, Billy Holiday came from game of make believe, low on the Facebook, forget the rape of centuries, grammar stays in present perfect, but us, we simple pass on it, degraded by our brothers, they say shake your ass on it, constructed before the white face, now it's music on my space, body parts separated from soul, born and soul, nothing new though, my question crucial, what's the worth of a black woman who go cross the Atlantic stranded, on plantations, projects, college loan payments, exploited, captured and framed in white imagination, black male, sex arrangements, Christian names, masters house, the first stage that made my body famous, beauty caged and tainted behind the lust for blue eyes and blonde manes, and I'm saying it started with that slave shit to set the journey flaming, yeah, it set the journey flaming, word up.
it's something that I think we really cannot afford to pretend we're really transcending when we're living that legacy today. We want to send our minds past it so that we reach for whatever rings that we want to reach for. But that doesn't mean forgetting and not understanding. We don't want to be limited by history, but we always want to be informed about it.
What's good, fam? How's everybody doing? That's what's up. That's what's up. This is Jobs, and you are tuned in to My Skin is My Sin on Blog Talk Radio. From goons to guys, we welcome everyone. We only have one rule, and that's be respectful. Give me 1 second. Let me get the Queen Afi on the line. What's good, Queen?
Hey, peace. What's up?
Oh, snaps. I kind of like that one. It wasn't a hey knowledge, but it was close. It was close. I'll take it.
Well, knowledge ain't on the line, so you know what? You're gonna have to stop with this voice competition. It's just not gonna happen.
that never stops. Like some things, just like we don't grow out of. It just keeps going.
No.
You know. But how you doing, Queen? How's life?
I'm pretty good. I can't complain. I'm chilling. So beautiful weather today, and
What's up?
I'm here. So
I mean, you're in Houston. You know, it's always beautiful weather here, basically.
we have a cold front actually coming in. It's going to rain a little Saturday.
Oh my gosh! Stop it!
Yeah, it's going to be like in our 60s, like low 60s.
Ooh.
You know
I have to put a
what?
sweater on.
I'm sorry that you decided you'd like to shovel snow every morning before you go to work. I mean, some of us, that don't appeal. I'm sorry. I like to just jump in my shit and go.
Yeah, I feel you. Oh, and for the people that's just tuning in for the first time to the show, for the first 15 minutes or so, we don't really talk about much. You know how we can be a little late sometimes. We got no problem with that, so we talk about anything. And we did a show, you know, well, Afi was busy, you know, she had chilling with the fam. I definitely appreciate and respect that yesterday, but I did do a show about Kanye. Yeah, I rode the wave a little bit. Hey, it is what it is. Everybody talking about it. I said, hey, I ain't got nothing to do. You know, let's chop it up. It was an interesting show. Shout out to Markel. Shout out to Ron Green. It was a queen that called up, too, and for the life of me, I cannot remember her name. I do apologize. But shout out to you if you're listening today. Definitely appreciate that. There was a couple people that called in, you know. And what I appreciate about the show is we could talk about certain things and it not turn into a scream fest, which is unfortunately what a lot of people be looking forward to. They just want to, like, see the car crash. They don't want to have an honest discussion. Doesn't necessarily mean we agree. It just means we discuss things like an adult. And, you know, it's a lot of people that truly are not interested in doing that. And if you aren't, this ain't your show. You know, I love you, but go listen to somebody else. Anyway. You know, and I ain't trying to, you know, be like obnoxious or anything, but I don't want to waste your time. And if you call in yelling and screaming and cussing at folks, I'm going to hang up on you. It's as simple as that. Yeah, you know. Let's see what else is going on. I don't know. We got about, man, that song was kind of dope, though.
Yeah.
I just happened to stumble across that on YouTube. And who is that? Akua Naru. It's called The Journey. You know, so shout out to that queen. That's a very dope song. I'm gonna have to go back and because I just got it like right before I started the show. Because honestly, I had pretty much forgotten to make the episode. I was just off my game today. I had a lot of things to do today, though.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of which, I was at court this morning, and I see this cop, this white cop, of course, and he is walking with. I couldn't tell, you know, it was a lady, and I really couldn't make out her nationality. She was kind of like one of those tweeners. But they had a little black boy with them. He couldn't have been no more than 4 years old. And so this white cop looks at this white couple and tells them that's his little suspect. And these two motherfuckers started laughing. And I told them, I was like, that shit ain't funny. That's extremely disrespectful. The cop had kept on walking and didn't hear me. Now, I ended up on the same elevator with the cop, the kid, and the lady. And I told that cop, I was like, that's extremely disrespectful what you called him. And he was like, well, that's just my, that's my little friend. You know, I was just joking. I said, that's not funny. And as a black man, I'm offended immensely. And he was like, well, I wasn't really trying to offend you or anything. You know, like, how do you fucking think that shit is funny by any stretch of the imagination?
Yeah.
I was so angry, and that dude did not even look. Like, I saw him a couple of times after that, and he just turned away. He couldn't even look me in the eyes. Huh? Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh man, but you will not know how angry I. Oh my goodness, man, I really, really, really wanted to lose it. And I see we got a couple of people that's kind of interested in black feminism. So I'm seeing some different numbers. I'm seeing some new faces on the live stream. Shout out to you. And if you know me at all, it's hard for me to get to everything. So if you comment on something and I don't readily respond, I do apologize in advance. I'm just pretty trash at that. So let's get that part out the way too. And I'm trying to get on the what sucks about this YouTube is that I have to go back and edit it. It doesn't automatically carry the name over.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, it ain't, it's not long. 2 words, I think.
Yeah, that's true. That ain't gonna kill me. All right, you know what?
Friend.
Yeah, you got a point there.
I mean, y'all say life is about choices, right? So. Y'all say what y'all on right now? I'm saying.
Oh, you so petty.
Life is about choices. So.
All right, it really is. All right, so and let me ask you this. I guess we can just go in and kind of jump into the topic, and there ain't no rhyme or reason to the show, and I am by no stretch of the imagination any expert on feminism, black feminism, green feminism, alien feminism, feminism in general. I am not an expert. I find it interesting, don't get me wrong, but I'm not as knowledgeable as a lot of people. Basically, I'm pretty ignorant to the topic. I did look some things up, but I've had some experiences where, for one, it's used almost as a curse word.
Yep.
And the recipient that's being called a black feminist really feels some type of way about that and may or may not curse that person out. But then when you look at the definition of feminism, I'm like, okay, what is it? The advocacy of women's rights on the basis of the equality of the sexes.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that a bad thing?
Well, we have a different definition than what white people have.
Okay. And what's our definition then?
We just ain't published our shit. I mean, in a nutshell, black feminism is women could do better in all areas, pretty much, if men weren't standing in our way. Pretty much the gist of it. I guess if I can be really, really plain, really simple about it.
Okay, but if that's isn't that seems to be true in a lot of cases?
It does. Yeah. I mean, if people stick to the core of feminism, I wouldn't necessarily have a problem with it. But depending on who you talk to, or what group they belong to, if they are some kind of active feminist, you'll get to the extreme where they hate men and all male babies need to die and this, that, and the third. And then you get to the, the more shallow end where it's I don't need a man to get anything accomplished. So depending on, in the black community, depending on which end you on, because I'm sure we all know that black woman who thinks she doesn't need a black man for anything.
Right.
That's the more shallow, the more common. And then you get these extreme black feminists where I'm not going to go as far as say they want to be a man, but they definitely have the lines blurred between what makes a man and what makes a woman a woman. I'm just saying.
I mean, but to keep it quite a stack, like, you don't have to be a quote unquote black feminist to share those views. You feel me?
Yep.
Like it's a lot of people that aren't, a feminist, quote unquote, but I don't need a man. They just hurt. And that's their lash out. My thing is like what I saw was that a couple of things. people were kind of similar in what you said. It's like the whole feminist movement is too far to the right of what the actual definition or what the general definition is, and also that it was a lot of lesbians. And they felt like they not only when they say they don't need a man, it's not somebody that's hurt, it's somebody that's literally trying to get rid of men.
Yeah.
And I think that's how people view it. But
yeah, because it's like but it's just like you said, on the more shallow end, you said that could be any hurt black woman that's say she don't need a man. So you're right. That's why the extreme end is the one that we think about the most when black feminism pops into our heads. Because the other one could be any single black mother or any scorned black woman or any black woman that got passed over for a job opportunity by a black man, anything like that, which is pretty common. So you automatically kind of think of the more extreme ends, just because they're more easy to identify.
Yeah, that is true. And for those people that want to call up, the number is 347-855-8692. You do have to press 1 to let me know you want to get on air. And like we was talking earlier, and I don't know, like black feminism really like the late 60s, early 70s kind of started. Can we agree on that one? All right.
Yeah.
Did we as men at that time contribute to white women's ability to infiltrate our women by not treating them right?
Yes, by not treating them right, absolutely, and also because of the beginning of the drug epidemic. So I would say both.
Okay. Well, yeah. I would say like crack hit in the 80s, but that I don't know. That's about what, heroin time, like late 60s, early 70s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's when that's what Vietnam era too. When people started coming home and they was already hooked.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of contributed to it too. But it's interesting when you look back on some of the movements, and let's say for the Panthers, for example, early on, it was more women than men. And if you kind of hear some of the things early on, and it seemed to me that they learned as they grew, which is that's normal for most organizations. But earlier on, it just seemed to be like women had a role that was defined for them, and they wanted to participate in defining that role. And that seemed to extrapolate a little bit to the greater society of women. And I don't see a problem with that, because I don't like a woman saying, well, a real man, how do you know?
Yeah.
When women always want to tell us, well, this is what a man should be. Well, I don't want to hear that shit. But I don't want to say that to a woman.
A real man, they're pretty much referring to their own expectations.
Exactly. They are. But the thing is I don't want I don't want her telling me that, and I don't want to define what a real woman is for her.
Right. Because you couldn't.
And I guess maybe I'm just sympathetic, I guess, in general. I don't, and I can't say that I've ever run into like a hardcore just black feminist, like, get out my face, boots on, I don't need you, like, go away. I've never had that encounter. If you out there, I would like to talk to you though, not in person, because I don't want you beating me up, but call into the show. But so I'm looking at it from the point of, I'm taking it more literal as far as the definition. And then when I'm checking out some of the videos, I checked out Angela Davis, and let me get some of these names, because, I forget everything. Damn, what was the sister? It was a couple of sisters that, she was a professor, and I cannot remember her name. Just give me a second, I'll have to look it up. But anyway, they didn't seem, it wasn't what I envisioned when I thought about what a black feminist was. You know, they weren't over the top. They weren't, super angry. They weren't like overtly hating on men. I mean, I guess a couple of things that they said could have been taken, some type of way, depending on your ideology coming into watching it.
Yeah.
But I'm a blank slate, so I'm watching it and I'm like, okay, well, what's the fuss? Like, why?
But there's a spectrum, though. There's a spectrum. So
okay.
it depends on who you're looking at or who you're listening to. There's a spectrum. So it's you're gonna have some that's boots, and camo and short, buzz cuts and going way more to the masculine end because they really don't want to have that deep of a connection with the male counterpart. And then you have the ones that it's probably specific reasons why, just not the male gender in general. So it's difficult because it's a spectrum. So I don't want to put everybody in a box. I definitely have crossed some feminists in my time, self-proclaimed. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But it's different degrees of feminism.
All right, and let me read this for you too. And this is from, let me see, it's compiled by Sherry Barnes, the University of California, Santa Barbara Library. And just kind of goes over like contemporary Black American feminists have identified the central themes in Black feminism as evidence in over a century of struggle in this country. And they include the presentation of an alternative social construct for now and the future based on African American women's lived experiences, a commitment to fighting against race and gender inequality across differences of class, age, sexual orientation, and ethnicity, recognition of Black women's legacy of struggle, the promotion of Black female empowerment through voice, visibility, and self-definition, and a belief in the interdependence of thought and actions.
Now, who wrote that? Because that's just too long.
That is not that long, and it makes.
Who
I
wrote
mean,
that?
let me see. Give me a second so I can look at the bit. Now I gotta look at the bibliography just because you want to know who wrote it. Oh my goodness. And basically she this chick that compiled it at the University of California, Santa Barbara Library. She's taking bits and pieces from people, and she got this long ass bibliography. I'll find it when I find it because Jesus Christ, these works cited is ridiculous. Anyway,
no, she was taking bits and pieces from different places. That's not like one. Okay. Okay, that's kind of what I want.
And that's another problem. It's apparently like a gazillion different variations of what Black feminism is.
Yeah.
And so, like I say, you can look at the actual definition of feminism, and that's extremely simple, extremely basic. Anybody can get that. But when you dig deeper into it, it's so many different layers, and it's a hard conversation to have because it's a hard topic to grasp. It just, to me, I just see people get really emotional over it, but I never really hear like a basis for why it makes you so emotional. Outside of what you said, the extreme shit, but like you don't see something like. Let me see. I'm trying to think of something that if a dude call another dude a Hotepian, the guy that's getting called the Hotepian doesn't get anywhere near as upset as a woman who has been called a Black feminist.
Oh, shit. You ain't seen every conversation where a brother calls another brother a hotep, because I've seen some fire-fueled ones.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yes, especially Afrocentric brothers who find that super disrespectful. Yeah, a lot of us find it disrespectful to refer to somebody as a hotep, a hoteper, a hotepian, or whatever, because the word is actually a meaningful word. Some of us get annoyed by that. I'm one of them. But
Okay, like, is there a list before we go any further of shit that I should not that's offensive to, like,
if it's not
woke
offensive
people
to you, it's
that
not
I need to know?
offensive to you. It's not.
But I don't want to offend somebody else. I don't want to be like, thinking I'm joking. Oh, you just a hotepian, and then he start crying and shit. I don't want to do that.
But I mean, a lot of people have turned that term into something that's supposed to be funny and disrespectful, and it's just going to depend on who it is you say. I wouldn't say it. Period. Just if you actually care about, whether you're going to hurt somebody's feelings or not, you might as well just be safe enough to say it. Period. But for people who actually acknowledge their African roots, it's not a good idea to say it. Unless they're a funny person and they joke like that. They
unless
might
you
be
just don't care.
Yeah, unless they just don't care. Yeah.
All right, I got you.
So,
my bad. I got a little sidetracked with the with Hotep.
No, it's cool. I'm glad you.
Yeah, well, actually, I have kind of done that before. But they earned it. Like they was being such an asshole that they were a Hotepian. I'm sorry. Like, and when you look at they deserve to be called that. So it wasn't just like some random. They, there's a reason people actually kind of use that term. It's because some people have woke up so much that they blinded everybody what they liked. Somebody will get that out there, And it's you don't have to be an asshole because you know some shit.
I think sometimes some people just want to go against the grain so bad and say I don't belong to the conscious community. I'm not this. I'm not that. I'm not the third. I'm not like you Hotep niggas. That ain't got nothing to do with a person, thinking that they're more knowledgeable or overly knowledgeable. They just got to deal with somebody being a jackass that don't know no better.
Okay, I agree with that. An asshole don't change just because you got more syllables in the vocabulary. But I'll have to write that down and put that in my memoirs. Oh, you know what? And my bad. I had Googled black feminists. I did it earlier, but for some reason it just wasn't on my. Okay. And you got let's see, Pauli Murray. And let me know if you've heard of any of them. Like this and what you think. Audre Lorde, Frances. Oh, really? I don't know. Frances Beale. All right, Bell Hooks, Julianne Malveaux, who I'm kind of familiar with, and I've seen her speak. Not in person, but I've seen her speak, on TV as well as on YouTube, and she just strikes me as a strong woman. I did not get, black feminist from her, and had I not seen her on this list, that's not a title that I would have given her. So what am I missing?
Keep in mind that black feminists of that time are not the famous black feminists of this time.
Okay. So would you say the ones of this time are more what? Go ahead.
Black feminists from the late 60s and 70s came as a result of World War II, which caused a shortage in numbers of men. First of all, this is where this all starts. A shortage in men because of war times. So you had women, despite color, that had to change gender roles. They had to go to factories. They had to go to warehouses. They had to go to butcher shops. They had to go to farms. They had to do all these things that gender roles said were traditionally a man's job to do. And honestly, a lot of people's opinions, just some stuff that I read, a lot of economies ran a lot smoother when men were away at war and women were in charge of earning wages. So you started to get this movement where women were like, well, I can do exactly what you were doing. So when men started to come back and women started getting chastised for not giving up the jobs they had picked up when men would come home from war and couldn't get a job or couldn't fill the positions for the places that did have jobs, like the factories, because they didn't have those set of skills. And the women had been doing it for the last 6 or 7 years that the war had been lasting. So then you started getting women that started getting kicked out of jobs so that a man could fill their role, or they started getting chastised and looked as a bad woman for not giving up the job to a man who just came back from war and he has to earn wages for his family. So it also turned into women being spiteful. Those women that felt like I can do what men can do because we're carrying the economy on our back, and now that men have come back, y'all are trying to put me back in the kitchen. So that turned into women wanting to stay in those positions. So to get around doing that, they were getting paid less. They were getting paid less in the beginning anyway. But if you got a man sitting next to you at the assembly line doing exactly what you doing and you getting paid 50 cents less, that's a problem. And women started to rally about this. So that's where the white feminism came into play. Black women, even though that wasn't particularly as big of an issue in the black population anyway, because the majority of city jobs and those kind of things, black women didn't have anyway, because at that time, more black people lived in rural populations than they did in city populations. So it wasn't as big of an issue with us. But when you get white women coming and saying, hey, join our cause, your men aren't treating you any better than our men are treating us, then it turned into black women wanting to join that movement too. And then that's kind of how it ended up getting birthed.
Huh. And so what would you attribute to the more aggressive nature of today's black feminists? And before you answer that, 9271, and I'm looking at the switchboard, and it's not just 9271, but that's the number that sticks out. If you do want to get in, just press 1 again. But it looks like Blog Talk is kind of screwing up on the calls because I'm seeing calls dropping and coming back and dropping, and like almost immediately. It's not like they even calling back in it, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just blinking basically. So if you having some issues with Blog Talk, man, please contact them. If I had a number to give you, I would, because I'm pissed off at them too. So anyway. And please invite some people to the live stream and share that. We definitely appreciate that. So what would you attribute? Okay, so I'm looking back, and like the sisters in the 60s and the 70s, strong sisters. And they were right in that for the black woman, the struggle is unique, because they get, we also as men, we benefited from we benefit from the patriarchal society to an extent. So women do too, but what I'm saying is like we got these preconceived notions. A woman should be cooking, cleaning, blase, split. No matter what you're doing, you can work 2 jobs. I want you to come home and cook me something to eat.
Yes. And the mixed up thing about it is when those roles started, women didn't work outside the house for the most part. So to tell a woman now, oh, I don't care if you got a full-time job and a part-time job, I want you to come home and have a meal for me when I get done working my job, that sounds asinine. This is not 40 years ago when you rarely saw a woman in an outside job. That was different then. So I don't know what's wrong with these fools now. But
so are we contributing to feminism by our expectations?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
How do we change that? And also are women kind of like I understand, like say if you work in the line and y'all doing the exact same job and he's getting more than you, that's completely wrong. However, like let's say construction, for example. I'm not familiar with the industry. I've never worked in construction. But when I drive past the construction sites, if I happen to see a woman, she is the one that's directing traffic all the time. Never fails. Mm-hmm. That's just my experience. But I would have a problem if I was the guy working like the jackhammer and she was making the same amount of money as me.
I don't think I don't think that's not really the scenario. The scenario would be if they both directing traffic or they're both jackhammering and somebody getting paid less than the other person. That's the problem.
I don't know. Some people think that, if just because they both out there, they should both get paid the same amount of money. I've seen people make that argument, but
what if I'm planting flowers? What if I'm planting flowers and you putting up a fence? But we're both working in not agriculture, landscaping. I wouldn't think that I'm going to get paid as much as you for, putting a couple of holes in the ground and putting the plants in there than you are carrying stuff and building a fence and using tools and all.
You rational. You're making sense. So I would agree with you. But we do got a caller. I want to get 6779 in on the line, if you don't mind. And that kind of rhymes. What's good, fam? 6779, you there?
Black Power.
Black Power. How you doing, King?
Man, y'all be rocking and rolling.
No, man, that's you, King.
We just We just looking in the mirror.
How you doing, man? And for those of y'all that don't know, man, this is the King himself, Hashim Nzinga, on the phone. Salute to you, man. It's an honor and a privilege to have you call up, bro.
I always listen, but this time I had to call. What the sister was saying is so important. She's right, because when you study, especially at the Pearl Harbor, when they had two wars going on at the same time, which was they had to go fight in Japan and then turn around and go so-called fight Hitler. But we got to remember, that's when we were more, that was in the 40s, coming into 41, 43, 45. But we got to go back about 100 years when black women were forced to work next to the man in the cotton fields. Black women were forced to carry the same buckets of water that the black man was going to carry. But when them black women got through doing their chores, they didn't become feminists. They came to those shacks and found a way to cook their dinner for their king and build that man up, because sometimes he would take the brunt of the beatings and the weight to protect her. So I'm just saying, in a way, we can use that argument. But with black people, like sister say, times have changed. But back when we talking 1600s, 1700s, clean up in the 1800s, staying over the 1900s, black women worked hard as a man. But they still, at the end of the day, they knew they were women. They knew they were queens. Harriet Tubman worked all her life and outworked a man 2-1. But at the end, she's on a rocking chair. She never tried to, when you read the letters to her and Frederick Douglass, she never tried to leave being a woman. Sir John the Truth stood up on a wagon and say, "Ain't a woman." So somewhere we got in these women movements and these white women movements. And I think that's where you got to look. But now, it's just ridiculous. Now, we can't even talk about the daytime. You just got so many women that want to be men. And this has been put on us through cycles and cycles and cycles. And it started with, they did a DVD called Good Hair. And when you look at sisters who wear the fros and sisters like we're on the phone with right now, and the sisters that's in tune with their culture, it's just they would not sell themselves out to be nothing but the queen. They look at Nefertiti, Nefertari. They got too many pillars that's been built for them to try to be King Tut. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But all I wanted to say, we just got to make sure that we take a close look at slavery. When it's kind of like when I read The Long Walk to Freedom by Nelson Mandela. When he didn't want to carry her husband's job, when he was next to her man, she was at home with the kids. When he was an educator, but when they took her husband, she had to come to the front line. But when they buried that queen last week, she's queen of queens. She never compromised, and she was out there with AK-47s and babies on her back and everything else. You know what I mean?
That's right. We pick it up when we have to.
I just believe we are a shattered, broken people, and I remember, and I end with this and let the other callers get in. Gail Scott did a piece, "Is Winter in America." Everybody loved it. Gail Scott did a piece, "The Revolution Won't Be Televised." Everybody loved it. Gail Scott on that same album did a piece called "Pieces of a Man." And he was talking about his father working at the post office, got fired, couldn't find a job, started drinking, got on drugs. And the Pieces of a Man is about, he saw his father being demoralized by the white man, saw him couldn't find a job, and the mother was carrying the weight, and it made him feel less than a man, and eventually killed himself. And it's the same thing with the female. The female goes through so much that she has to work 2 jobs. She has to carry so much load. We got to get a queen's credit. But all of that don't lead to you wanting to be a man or want to downgrade or talk down on men, because this is what we all know in clothing. For every no good Negro, there are 4 or 5 good ones. Find you a good
Facts.
one in the store.
Hey, I agree with that wholeheartedly. No doubt, man. Definitely appreciate you, King.
Oh, yeah. We're going to listen to the rest of the show because it's a great show. It's a great topic for this time. And, I got 5 daughters. Sit in my living room and have to have this conversation every day. Tell them, don't ever get in the man lane. Don't try to be the man. Then you're getting out of your spiritual lane. When you get out of your spiritual lane, you're going to fall.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? To be quite honest, as men, I don't think enough of us think long term with our daughters. Because I remember when my daughters was kids, I was a mess as a person, as a man, as an individual, as a human being. I was the ain't shittiest of ain't shits. And I remember thinking to myself, I don't ever want my daughters to think that what I am doing is okay. And I that's been kind of the basis of me, my involvement in my daughters' lives, and they grown and prospering now. But I made a conscious decision to say, hey, you know what? They don't need to see me with 1 million women. They don't need to see me doing X, Y, and Z. They need to see a good black man. And I tried.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. Back in 1995, Attorney Shabazz had the Black Holocaust at Howard University. And I got to meet Shiraz Ali, and she had a book called The Black Man Guide to Understanding the Black Woman. Well, in the end, she had the Black Woman book too, but I love the way she wrote those books because she wrote those books for black women, which are different from white women. And when you study the Constitution of the United States in 1776, 77, you start off with the Constitution saying that the only one can vote in America was a white man who owned land. A white woman couldn't vote. Yep. A black woman sure couldn't vote. So right from the start, I'm talking about, I don't even get into feeling sympathetic for those white creatures because I never understood how a white woman can be a minority, and they taking advantage of it to the max.
Mm-hmm.
When she's sitting there having the white man as a baby, out her legs. But anyway, the white woman has used every move she could. She followed her man, and when you watch all the slavery movies, when you watch 12 Years of Slavery, I was just watching Am I a Slave last night with my daughter and my queen. And every time it's the woman who seems all nice, who seems all happy, but she does the most dirt. She talks to her husband at night, and she does the most dirt. And she worked with her husband right now in this society to get 40% of minority contracts. You got a white man and a white woman. We're talking about real feminists. These white women don't play. You got a white man and a white woman. They would split their corporations. She would get half corporation, he would get half, so she can become a minority and get all the contracts that her husband couldn't get. But then when you watch them, a lot of them overtake their husbands and do and make more money, and then they leave the man. These white people. I mean, it's ridiculous, man. But I just end with this. I hope the sisters get out of this show listening to it. That look, stay in your lane. You're a goddess. You're a queen. You're the greatest thing God ever thought about creating. We cannot survive without you. We cannot even try to survive without you. And for the women who've been beat up, who's been prostituted, who's been let down by the black man, I'm going to leave you with a book they should read. One of the best books I ever read. We went with Gail Scott, Pieces of a Man, but it was a book written by Cupcake Brown. I don't know if y'all ever heard of it. The name of it is A Piece of Cake. It's by a sister named that's really her name, Cupcake Brown. But I'll tell you a little bit about the book, but I want y'all to really read it. It's a book that changed my life. Her mother, when she was pregnant, the only thing that would stop her from being sick is eating cupcakes. So when she had her, she named her Cupcake. But her mother died in the bed with her when she was like 7 years old or 8. And family didn't handle her right. She ended up foster home, being raped, being abused, being used, ended up being a prostitute, ended up being a drug addict, ended up with a horrible life. Horrible life, about the lowest you can get. When you read this book, this is the only book in my life that I would physically throw across the room and leave it there for 4 or 5 days, then pick it back up and read it some more. Because every time I thought she was going to win, she would lose again. But in the end, if you look up Cupcake Brown, she got one of the biggest law firms in San Francisco. She's one of the top female lawyers in this country. And she's married and happy. So you just got to keep going. That's the story.
Yeah.
Man, definitely got to check that one out, too. And I think I heard her, too. I'm not sure from where, but that name, yeah, you can't forget that name.
Right.
Well, you just need to do piece of a cupcake. Her story is worth reading and worth telling your listeners. Hey, I appreciate y'all. I don't want to take up all your time. I thank you.
Man, we appreciate you. And we'll chop it up, man.
No problem.
All right, no doubt, man. Peace.
Peace.
That's just so
That's
dope.
a good point.
That's a good
That's
point.
a good
But
point,
that's just
though,
fucking
because a
dope.
lot of sisters, something will happen to them, and they just completely get discouraged and denounce black men, or all black men ain't shit, because of something they went through with one or two black men.
That is true, but I can't, we do it too,
Yeah.
We do it too. I can't even, I can't just dump that on the sisters right there. But it's just dope as hell that Hashim Nzinga actually listens to us and called up. I'm just saying, that's pretty dope.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he listened last week.
Well, yeah, that's Hashim Nzinga outfit. That's dope. But let me get the 4122 real quick. What's good, fam?
Good evening. This is K-Mac. How are you?
Peace.
All right. How are you, Queen?
Hey, sis. I'm good, King. Thank you. And thank you for the shout-out. That was me yesterday, or the day before.
Now I feel even worse now.
No,
I'm sorry.
You're good. Excellent topic.
You got I'm sorry, before you get started, though, Queen, you got a little background noise. It's a little hard to hear you.
That's not me. Okay, there you go. That's not me.
Okay, well, it's a lot better now.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sitting in my car quietly. But excellent topic. And the feminist part has always been a conversation between myself and other black women. Some of us definitely subscribe to the black feminist piece. And, there are reasons for that. The bottom line, when I talk to my sisters, it's like they embrace the black feminist piece because it's like we're not authorized to ever be tired. You know, we have to keep going. We're just not authorized to be tired, and that's not cool. When our men are down, we have to pick them up. When the children are down, we have to pick them up. You know, when the house is down, we have to pick them up. The house's feel and look is based on how she feels and looks. And one thing I don't think people really understand is that black women who are black mothers and black wives, we don't get the liberty to say, I'm tired. I don't feel like doing this today. And we can't say that. That's where all that comes from. You know, I listen. Granted, I understand. Here's a black man, we can't do it without you. You know, then you'll hear black feminists saying, well, what can you do without us? Because sometimes we're tired. Sometimes we want to sit back. We want to take a chill. We want to be able to sleep. We don't want to have to, you know, go to work sick, take care of the house sick. You know, there's a lot that we have to do, and that's placed on our shoulders. And, you know, I heard the king before say, stay in your lane. Kings don't define a queen's lane. There were many queens in history that ran things, that held leadership positions. You know, that subscription sounds like white supremacy. That doesn't sound like we as people, because I'm more matriarchal, and not matriarchal the way the white folks explain it, but matriarchal that we are equal. The patriarchy piece, you know, I'm not real fond of it. I really am not, because as long as patriarchy exists, you see what it does to this world, this global. The problem is, like I said, the bottom line of the patriarchy piece is that the black woman does not get to rest. She does not get to stop and say, I need help.
But
who pulls her up when she needs it?
On that one,
that's not me.
Oh, excuse me.
Okay.
On that, that's a tough one, and I'm gonna tell you why. At least from a man's perspective, is like women that are accustomed to thinking like that run men away who would like to be more of a participant in the relationship equitably. It's like you say you want this,
like what?
but then when you get that, you know, you so used to not having it, you don't know how to deal with it, and it runs us off.
Well, you know, I'm not sure about that piece, you know, because I was very happily married till he passed away. Very happily married.
And my condolences.
The thing is thank you. We were brought up to take care of everything. Yeah. Inside the house and outside. All of my, you know, women in my family, all the way up, and every woman around me, they all worked. That stay at home and cooking, that was not us. That was them. That had nothing to do with us. I've never known any black woman, me growing up, you know, and I grew up in New Jersey, in the city. All the women worked. They didn't have the luxury of sitting at home. My grandparents worked. My great-grandparents worked. From what I understand, great-great on top of that. And as was said, you know, women worked right next to the men in the fields. She worked in the house, too. So we always have worked. And, you know, even as she is raped and beaten, she was still expected to take care of the children in the home. And see, that's what I would say brings out that resentment. We're still going to do what we have to do. No, I'm not saying we're not. But the thing is, there needs to be a better observation from our men that she needs to be taken care of. Not just bills being paid, but if she wants to rest and stop, she should be able to do that. You know, I mean, even as a mom, for instance, for me, if I was home, had a headache, didn't feel good, you know, if he went to work, I still had to take care of the kids. I still had to keep, wash the clothes and take care of the house. I could be, sick as a dog. It didn't matter. See that? And we are taught as black girls that we are supposed to take care of. See, what men
no
say
matter what.
take care of and what women say take care of are two totally different things. Women are taught, we are, as young girls, we are taught to take care of, like you said, no matter what. And we become resentful. We internalize it, and that's what I don't think our black men understand. We're not chasing anybody off, and usually the marriages last a long time, but this is why when something happens, like he passes away, or a divorce does happen, she doesn't want to be in a relationship anymore because relationships take responsibility and they take a lot of time and it takes a lot of work because the one who does the majority of the work, and you'll hear it, now it's, it's never been 50-50. There's no such thing as a 50-50, which is the fairy tale that we were sold on, is 90-10, 80-20, 70-30. It rolls like that. And the thing is what we don't realize is black women keep going. I've had white women say, girl, I don't know how you do it. You don't want to know how I do it. You don't want to know my mental processing and how I have to do things. You don't have a clue what it's like to have been touched incorrectly and be a survivor, but still have the man you love touch you the same way and not haul off and knock him out. You don't have any idea what it is to watch your child pass away, yet still be able to love the rest of the children as well as your man. See, nobody thinks about that part. Black women have to keep going. We don't get the chance to rest. And that is where that feminism is going to sneak in and take over. And then when she says, I'm tired, she's met with, you're lazy. You should be better. You need to be a better wife, a better mother. You hear all of the ugliness come her way. And this is from talking to other black women. Needless to say,
you know what? I want to thank you, though,
it's
too.
hard, yeah.
And I'm sorry for cutting you off, but I just got to thank you before, I lose my mind over here. Because to keep it a stack, I am guilty of some of that shit. And I never felt it resonate. I never heard it that way. I guess maybe I did. Maybe I just didn't listen. But I truly want to thank you, and I definitely am going to be apologizing and kissing some ass tonight. Not literally, but figuratively. But, sometimes, when the light go off, the light go off. And it could be a stranger, it could be your mom's, whatever the case is, you hear something and it's like, oh, damn, I've been missing this shit. Because my thing was, and especially, when me and my queen got together, my whole intent was to get a queen that would stay at home. I did not want her working. That's not in her DNA. That did not work for us.
And right.
She
and
drove
that's
me
the type of woman
crazy.
that I am. My husband wanted me to stay home, but I like to work. So we came to a compromise. When my child was at school age, that's when I can work, and that was the compromise. And they say we shouldn't compromise in a marriage, but we did because you are asking me to deny a part of myself that makes me happy. Because I'm in charge of my happiness, not him. And so when he realized that, he was like, you know what, babe, I'll support that. We had to have that long conversation. We met. I was wearing my fatigues, firing rifles. So you already knew I was a worker type. You knew that. And I told you I like to work, But, I had to be the accountant. I had to be the doctor. I had to be the nutritionist. I had to be, the school bus driver. I had to be a whole lot of things while he went to work. And so I was like, I need to be happy too. So, I don't think some of our men understand it. And they don't get it. Like I'm at a point now, he and I, we were together almost 21 years, married 19. And I don't think I'll get married again because it's work. I don't want to be responsible for how someone else lives, acts, breathes. I just don't feel like it right now because it's a lot of work. I don't want to be committed right now. Matter of fact, I don't even want to have a boyfriend right now because that's work. That's how much I need. That's how much I need a break. I don't think people understand. That's why how much I need a break. Because every waking moment is him, children, home. Him, children, home. I will slide in my job and what I like to do around them. I don't feel like doing that anymore. I want to put me first.
Hold that thought, Queen. I'm gonna bring somebody else in on the line. Well, I'm gonna try to. Did I do 9271 already? I don't think so. I think I did, and they didn't say anything. I'll try again. I don't remember. 9271. What's good, fam?
Earlier, my old phone was doing all kinds of magic tricks and doing stuff, and I hadn't even pushed the button, so I had to go out and come back in because the phone had a ghost in it.
Hello, you live.
The sister speak.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I think she.
Are you there?
Can you hear me now, ma'am? Yeah, we hear.
Yeah.
Queen, you.
All right. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. We good.
Okay. Yeah, because I was listening to the sister speak. I was like, yeah, that's the same thing. I'm gonna admit 100%. I do push them away. I clearly tell them I'm not interested. I'm not going through them changes. The kind of stuff that I've seen sisters put up with, I'm not doing that. The type of stuff that I've been presented with by brothers, no thank you. I will stay over here by myself. Thank you very much. Go away. Because I don't want nobody else's child in my house to raise. I will raise mine. They're grown. I don't want to set that example for my daughters. I want them to have the freedom to be able to take care of themselves. And if you have a male in your house today, and in my mother's day, because my mother set that example for me. When my cell donor left, she left. She didn't bring nobody else in there to terrorize our life. We lived good. We went to plays when we wanted to. We went wherever we wanted to when we wanted to. She worked, took care of me as a child, took care of her mother as well. Me seeing that example.
So she never remarried. She never had another man after that.
She had a boyfriend once I was up with my own. Once I was up and married and out. That's when she had one. But she didn't bring them in the house as me. And we was good. So
yeah, but does that make a woman a feminist because she decides to take a break from relationships? That doesn't necessarily make her a feminist.
Right, exactly.
I think it's the reason that she decides to do that would make her a feminist.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Just because I've decided I don't want a male companion in my house doesn't mean I hate men. I just love me too much to put up with God.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like you just didn't come across a bunch of just trash men.
Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, especially since I'm living in my mother's hometown where she grew up and I didn't. So yeah, I've seen a whole lot of trash. And
can I ask you?
My house, so I'd rather be by myself.
Can I ask you a question? And I mean absolutely no disrespect by this at all. But at what point, if you continue to meet trash men, is it not the men that you are meeting? It is the men you are choosing.
I didn't choose them. That's the whole bit of what I'm saying. I see them. And because I can see
okay.
Yeah, I don't choose them at all. I said because I seen what you did to the rest of the sisters you've been with, and I'm not going to be the next one. I looked at the sisters around me and see the kind of garbage they're putting up with, and I said, I'm not gonna be another one. Y'all do that. I'm not one of y'all. I can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
And are you in a small town?
Yeah.
Okay. See, now that makes so much more sense now.
It really does.
Yeah, I grew up in cities. I can't do this small town stuff. I'll be out one of these fools. Can't do this.
Oh my goodness, man! I needed that so much. You just don't know. But because initially, and that's a good thing about listening to people is that you get to hear more of their story, and you can understand where that particular individual is coming from. How you looking at things in a small town will differ from how you looking at things if you live in New York, generally speaking.
Right. Definitely.
Like the men in a small town, it's a finite number. Y'all might live in a town full of 10,000. Well, of that 10,000, maybe 3,000 are men, and of that 3,000, like 1,500 are actually employed, got their own shit, and the rest of them may or may not be bums.
Right. Exactly.
or haven't been with everybody in the town.
Well, you cannot blame the man for that one. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna know. No, you can't. If everybody in your city know everybody, and that one dude is ran through everybody, that is no longer his fault. You just got a town full of hoes, and y'all gotta accept that.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying too.
That is true.
These males out here are raggedy as they are because these females have allowed them to be this way.
Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely agree with that.
And that is one thing.
No black females leftovers. I don't do that.
Well, that's one thing. Like as fathers, we have to give better examples of the type of man that we want our daughters to choose.
Right.
And I think that, and I'm not saying that we aren't doing a good, we aren't getting enough light for doing a good job. I will say that, but there's always room for improvement, myself included.
Well, myself gonna show me exactly the man I don't want by being that man. By being that man, I am so glad I had a stepmother because she took him out of our house and out of our way. And I feel like she fell on her sword for me because of her, I had a good childhood. She put up with his garbage. Me and Mom did swell.
Wow. Man, I do appreciate everybody that's called up and shared their story. And before because I got to get the switchboard, apparently people, interesting topic. It really is. And thus far, I've truly enjoyed myself and learned some shit. Well, I always learn. I ain't that bright. Exactly. Before we go any further, though, I need to let y'all know y'all are tuned in to My Skin Is My Sin on Blog Talk Radio. From goons to gods, we welcome everyone. We only have one rule, and that's be respectful. If you want to call up, the number is 347-855-8692. You got to press 1 to let me know you in the queue. And tonight we're talking about black feminists. And we're just having a really nice conversation and a nice build. So, if you want to join up, and 7244, I see you. I'm going to get to you in a second, all right? My bad. I got to do that when we halfway through, though. It's in my contract. Queens, y'all still there?
Still here. I had to black off the mute out the traffic in the background.
Oh, okay. And do me what's the last 4 digits of your number, Queen?
9271.
9271. I think 4122 muted herself, so I'm gonna mute her. And I'm gonna bring 724. Oh, okay. But you know what? And matter of fact, just in the interest of so I won't get confused because I do that often. I'm going to mute you two queens for a moment. I'm going to bring 7244 in, and then I'm going to bring y'all back. Is that cool?
Fine.
All right, hold on.
Yes.
That kind of felt bad there. Hold on one second. Let me get a 7244 right quick. What's good, fam?
Hey, peace, Black Power. How you doing, brother?
Peace and Black Power. I'm doing good.
Sisters, family. I'm sorry. Peace.
What's going on with you, King?
Nothing much, man. This your brother Equanif. I'm just checking out the topic, and it's one that that we definitely can say this label, it does exist. And even more so, it is becoming, I'm going to say, prevalent, because it's becoming a popular thing to relinquish or put down your family for not only this alternative lifestyle, but I'm going to say the mirroring alternative lifestyle for men, where women are quote unquote bashing men, and where men are bashing women. You understand? And to say that now from these behaviors we have brought ourselves, not saying anybody on this line, but we as a people have brought ourselves, rather than standing up for straight black pride or standing up for things that are very fundamental at the core of our family, we stand up for gay rights. We stand up for feminist rights because we're so discombobulated. We're so disconnected with our yesterday that we forgot who we were yesterday, making it a problem to see who we are properly today. And we have to look at the movements back in the civil rights era. I think us as black people, a lot of times we compromise the very fabric of our movements to kind of shake hands with everybody. Why? Again, because we don't know what organic African life is about. We don't. So a lot of times, because it feels good, we're going to say, well, we're down with it. And, from my studies, back in the days in the 60s when we were marching for, I'm going to say equal rights, or marching for the right to walk to school without getting picked on, marching for, the right to be a human in this quote-unquote territory, you then saw the opportunists, which were the feminists, and the women's rights. From my study and from my research, from me talking to those people that were boots on the ground then, they're saying that, hey, those feminists kind of embedded themselves into that movement. We see today in real time how it was done the same way with Black Lives Matter. We know that Black Lives Matter, it was fun. It kind of, George Soros, after you look at him, he, that's a weird, but I'm going to say it was started from the hurt, from the pain that black people were tired of seeing from the unjust, inhumane behavior as we were being treated. So therefore, we see it in real time where this quote-unquote Black Lives Matter movement was then turned into Trans Lives Matter, Gay Lives Matter, all these other alternative things besides the things that are going to be core, fundamental, and indicative to our prospering as a black family. You understand? And so, of course, our black feminists or white feminists, of course, anytime we are allowing this stuff into our families, black homo men and women, you understand? Black drug dealers, black pimps, black womanizers, men or women, you understand? These are all degenerative behaviors in which we have taken on that doesn't look, and nor are they positive for our come up, for our family, moving, progressing, going forward. And a lot of times, again, this is where we find ourselves at. Now we're calling ourselves thugs And rather than me being a straight up strong father, now I'm a dog of a fucking, of some kind of crazy, or I'll call myself, rather than me being a strong father for my son and for my daughters, I'm calling myself the queen of, you understand, where women, rather than them looking at themselves as strong black mothers, we are looking at ourselves as women are looking at themselves like they are men. They can do everything that a man does. And this is what happens whenever you have the European in control. Of course, he's supposed to do this, keep us discombobulated. So rather than us building a positive formula or building a positive model so we can start producing good quality families, he wants to have us always at these alternative lifestyles, paying, giving into that. And all we at the end of the day, we're going to wind up just use and abuse. So I just wanted to add that in, brother and sisters, to the conversation, family, and hopefully it could have added on.
But let me ask you this before you go, King. In listening to the Queens, the theme, we as black men are contributing to the ability for white feminists to cherry pick our women, basically, by not listening to our women. That's what I'm getting from listening to our women tonight, is that we aren't hearing their pain. Well, we hear it, but we're not really listening, and we're not addressing it, because we too need to change a little bit. And I'm not saying that we need to get rid of the whole system, throw it away, and start over. But I think that as men, we have been somewhat inflexible, because with time does come change. And some things shouldn't change, but some things should change. And I think we need to do a better job of listening, so that we aren't giving outsiders even the opportunity to come mentally fuck with our women. If that even makes sense.
That's absolutely right. And even as you were just speaking, I was just thinking about, the black man, rather than him seeing or trying to find out how he can positively affect his family, he comes home and slouches on the couch, and he watches football. He watches basketball all day. And, of course, a woman, if she understands the struggle, or if she sees the injustice or the fact that we as a black family are losing badly, and rather than us as men being and rising to the occasion as strong men, rather than us doing that, creating culture, creating a lifestyle that would reflect that, she sees us, we're just doing nothing. You understand? We're just entertained by the European. Of course, then that could create, you understand, just almost, even if a parent isn't telling their children, hey, what to do, that would create the environment where now the children are running the parent. The children are telling the parent what to do. So rather than it being the situation where a man or the masculine, and I'm not saying this for all men that watch sports or whatever, but this is sometimes we get ourselves into this, conditioning, European conditioning, where our women don't feel confident in us as men. You understand? So therefore they may be open, they may be exposed to different people pitching and selling different things, propaganda. You understand? And it all comes back down to the family, because, like what you said, we got to start having these conversations as a family. We don't even know about that, brother. We don't even know what it is to sit down at our family table and have these types of discussions. We haven't made it there yet. Now, we can sit down and talk about who's going to win the Super Bowl, who's going to win. We could talk about that type of thing. And so I feel like these types of conversations are very much needed. And until the day that these become popular, that, we're going to continuously see the flourishing of these alternative lifestyles, these exo agendas, things out the exterior, and they're going to be, and our people are going to be open to them if we don't have a culture there to remind them who they are. We're not there yet. We're working on it. Good, The shout out to to the radio station, to the family, to the sisters, everybody because this is the important thing we have to do inside trying to create a culture. So it'll go from this blog talk show to now a radio show. Now I can listen to it on XM. Now it's a full-blown TV show because it has now become popular because our people want to feed into that. But right now, our people feed into that feminist bullshit. Now our people feed into that homosexual crazy stuff. Now our people are going over there paying to go see the womanizer, paying to go see. But until the day that we pride ourselves at having shows and conversations such as these, we're going to still be dealing with the same thing, from my opinion.
I definitely appreciate that too, King. And do us a favor, man. If you see a post about a show, man, share a post. That's the only way we're gonna get bigger.
Absolutely, brother.
No doubt, man. And salute to you, King, man. Definitely appreciate your time and your wisdom.
We need another male perspective on the
Thank
topic.
you. Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, sis. Thank you, brother. Much love.
No doubt. Much love. All right. And I am the male perspective. I could speak for all of us. No, I'm just talking shit. And I did promise to bring the queens back on. What was you about to say before I do that?
I was going to say I tend to my opinion aligns a little more with his and Brother Hashim's, and it's because I'm a little bit more traditional. Even though I've been a woman that's worked in corporate America and whatnot, and always had a job. I grew up, with a pretty, traditional rural black family where, my grandmother and great grandmother and a lot of women in my family didn't work because they were housewives. They were, the home took care of the home. So they never worked a day in their life. A lot of them. So I understand that perspective of having clear gender roles, but I do understand how a lot of women, ended up having to shift those roles because of the necessity that grew out of a lot of our men not carrying their weight properly. And so we had to transition into those roles because we're always going to do what needs to get done. Like collectively, not every individual woman, but black women.
Yeah,
I mean that's what we do.
But hey, shout out to black women. Y'all don't get no stronger than that. And speaking of that, let me get the two queens back on the line. We got about 30 minutes. If you want to call in, the number is 347-855-8692. And if you see a post, share a post. Please invite somebody to the live stream. And definitely, shout out to Chester, shout out to Anitra, Tina Payne, Hashim, Jennifer, Quinn, Yakini, Dale Freeman. Shout out to Connell. Do us a favor, invite some people to the live stream for this last half an hour. And I think I just muted. Oh, I damn near muted myself. Why I keep doing that, I don't know. Working on this iPad, running the board from the iPad is a little different. So let me get them back on the line right quick, though. Queen, you still with us, 4122?
I am here.
All right. And 9271, you still with us, Queen? All right, well, we'll come back to you, Queen, but I did. And also, you know what? What I'm hearing, at least, from our perspective tonight, is a lot of it is what you saw growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that's true of any of us, any one of us, as far as how we live our life and how our moral compass, how we structured, how we kind of wired. We learn some things, but a lot of who we are, is based off of the things that we saw. And you can tell, like what Afi did, that you had the privilege of being around a traditional family and growing up in a traditional family. And unfortunately, that's not a privilege that is, afforded to a lot of us.
Mm-hmm. Now don't get me wrong. I've seen some ancient men. I've seen some ancient men before. I just happen to have. I think it's a little. I don't think it was necessarily the caliber of the man. I just think it was because my family is from the country. The majority of the men were farmers or worked outside with their hands in some kind of capacity. So it's different. You know what I'm saying? When that's what is a normal way of life. So to see a man that didn't do that or couldn't do that, it it was a little different. He wasn't he wasn't considered like a real man. You know what I'm saying? So I think men were more willing to keep up those gender roles, with the man being the worker and being the provider, and then the woman being the nurturer. And so,
you know what? At least with me, it took me a while, being that my mother raised me. For one, you gravitate towards women who don't have a father in their life, at least for me. And that inability, that lack of a man in their life growing up does, they're missing something. And it's difficult to deal with that. As you get older, you understand that more, and you're more honest about yourself, because it's just as difficult for me in some aspects because I didn't have a man in the house, so I didn't see how things was handled from a man perspective. You don't see that. You have to learn that shit on your own as you go, and in doing so, you hurt a lot of people, or you get hurt a lot. And the more you get hurt, the more susceptible you are to outside interference, to outside noise, to hear, you know what, that way ain't been working for you. Come on over here. We got some better candy. And I think that, and it's really kind of hard to put into words, but I think that's basically what really is fueling, like, black feminism. Because I can hear a lot of anger. I can hear a lot of pain. I can hear a lot of resentment in a lot of people, and not just on the phone tonight, just in general, especially a lot of our queens. If you just, I work in the medical profession, which is dominated by women. So, good, bad, or ugly, I hear a lot of the conversations. And it just, and I know good brothers. The only brothers I know are good brothers, but apparently these women keep picking the same dude over and over and over. I know that may not have anything to do with black feminism, but I really would like to know, but how can we stop that cycle? And at the same time, conversely, give them a better selection, a better pool to select from, because it goes both ways. Men, we are not giving women a good pool to select from. Right. We are forcing women to have to settle because they don't want to die alone.
Well, if I could, I guess my experience, and again, I talk to a lot of women, it's not that we're picking the wrong men. It's just that they play the game a whole lot better. We don't find out who they are until we're invested. And that's the other part. It's the trickery, the games, and things of that nature. That also, can turn women into saying, you know what, I'm done. Because they present one picture and they really are another. Women do it too. And I think that's something we just need to stop, because, it's like we want old school love with new school ways. It doesn't work that way. Mm-hmm. You're just not going to have it. It's not going to work that way. And sometimes I wonder if we really understand what it means to be a woman and what it means to be a man. I've heard some of my sisters say, oh, I can hold doors by myself. Don't pull out nothing for me. Look, I'm just straight retarded when he holds the door for me. I love that stuff. or pulls out the chair for me. I'm a goofball for that. I love that, And some women take it as he's being condescending, and I scratch my head. That's why I do understand the black feminist, but I also adore my femininity.
Right.
I understand what it takes to have a relationship because to me, it's a commitment. And I was taught you don't break promises and you don't break commitments. Your ancestors would tear you a new one if you do it. So if I'm not ready to jump in and give 150,000%, I'm just not going to do it. So because I understand what it takes for a relationship. I get it. Every person is different, but you're all in or just leave it alone because then you start messing over people. When it comes down to the feminism, I used to teach at the university. My phone is going. I used to teach at the university.
That's an actual phone?
Yeah, that's my my business phone.
I'm like, man.
It's chilling down there. Yes.
Hey, business is good then.
Well, I don't know about all that. It's just letting me know I got email and stuff like that. And and I would say, black feminism, I agree with some parts. Like now, being a widow, I've been a widow, going on 9 years. And I'm starting a business. I'm showing, our children how to start business and, be involved in it. And I wish he was here. I really wish he was here. Because that, I think, would be cool for dad to show his daughters and sons, business. But, when I talk to men my age now, they're looking for someone that will not outshine them. They're easily threatened.
Where y'all getting these men?
I'm not getting anybody. No. They're very emotional, and men in general are emotional. They're just good at stuffing it, but they're extremely emotional. They very much are because they've been taught to suppress so much. Well, guess what? That suppression is going to come out. But men are very emotional. And so
I think a lot of it has to do that a lot of us are raised by our mother, and we see those emotions, and we don't see the flip side.
Well, I don't know about all of the mother thing. My dad was emotional. And, I remember a gentleman touched my mother on the lower end of her back. And next thing I know, he was sweeping up the store with the guy. You don't touch her. I was like, that's cool. I like that. But
yeah, but that ain't emotional. Right, that's a normal reaction. That is not, no. You do not put your hand on my woman's ass. And no, technically that ain't the ass, but that's close enough.
I got you, but he was going to get my mom's attention. And he got it the wrong way, and I got that.
That's
but,
totally,
you got to have a little
that
bit
ain't
of control
emotional.
over
I can't,
that.
nope. I can't agree with you on that one, Queen. That man knew exactly what he was doing when he put his hand there.
But the emotion of him being not liking the fact that another man touched his woman caused the reaction. But there was an emotion that caused that reaction.
Yes.
That's what she said.
Yes.
Okay, I'll go for that one.
Defending his woman is the emotion. Defending his woman is the reaction.
Right. The thing is, a woman wants a man to protect her. Okay? I know I do. I love a man to protect. I like to see how he does that protection. Why? Because at any given moment, he can turn that on me. So if you want a man that's fierce and ferocious and strong and all, remember that he can turn that on you, the very one he loves. So we have to, as women, we have to think of a lot of things before we jump into relationships. And unfortunately, a lot of our younger women don't. The social media is a wonderful thing. I love it because you get to see the 50 sides of people. You know, you could see somebody call you queen one day and then bash single mothers and call them bees and hoes and this and that. Guess what? Don't want you in my world. You got too many faces. You know, because if we break up, then I become the B, the H, in all complete disrespect. So there's a lot going on, and I can see with the way things are going now, you know, black feminism, rather just feminism in general, are going to be able to easily recruit. It's going to be easy. You know, because, you know, talking to some of the men, well, what do you want in a man? I want him to come to the table with exactly what I have. You know, I'm not asking for much, you know. The first thing I hear is, well, maybe we can live together. What? See, I'm not into that. You know, that just makes sense. You know, you just kind of go, you know, you know, and you find out that,
so a guy has to be like totally equal for you, like completely.
Yes, and there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. If he has his own home, he has his own car, he has his own job, he has his own account. Those are the last things we got to worry about. We can now focus on building because he already has his own.
Okay, so when you say equal, you don't mean like okay, well, he's got a car, but I got a Benz and he got a Kia, or he's got a house.
No.
Okay, you just he holding his own as a man.
Right, but I'm gonna tell you, if he has an apartment and I have a house, that's not gonna work. Because there's a different mindset when you own your own, if that makes sense. I want us to be on the same mindset. So if I own a home, you own a home. I don't care how big it is. Own a home. If I own a car, you own a car. If I have checking and a savings account that's not in the negative, I expect the same out of you. Because if you don't come equal, then you're going to have problems. Let's say I own a home and he has an apartment. Well, why don't I just move in with you? That's going to come next. That's a problem.
Or no, you could say, you know, you could fall in love and you know what, say, you know what, okay, I'm going to sell my house, but we're going to put equal money into buying a new one.
Absolutely not.
You know, because
I have
like for men, like a lot of times, like me personally, I just like renting. That's just me. But like what if, you know, I may be balling as far as renting is concerned. I may be downtown in a loft somewhere. It's not that I don't have the mindset that I don't want to buy a house. It's just that I got a mindset because I want to find a queen to buy a house with.
I understand that, but see, I have children. And I want to make sure that my children have a start. So why would I get rid of something of a financial portfolio? These are my children. No. We'll think of something else, but the house is will to them. This way, because, you know, our children don't have a start as it is now. We don't have proper life insurance so that our children have a good financial start. We don't have property. These are things that we should be doing. Not willing to sell it off. This is my children's future, my home. My second home in New Jersey, that's my children's future. So we can build together. I'm fine with that, but I'm not selling that or selling my home. No. Because I have children and I have grandchildren. I got to think of them too.
What would be wrong with him coming into your home, though?
I'm good.
He needs his own home before.
Because then they're not equal.
That is a very personal preference for very specific reasons. Because me, for example, I'm not particularly concerned with whether you can match all of the things that are most important to me. I'm concerned with the totality of what you have to offer. Because something that I have to offer, you may lack, but something that you have an abundance of, I may lack. So that's the beauty of coming together in a way that you need each other. You find reasons why you can be his strength at some points and he can be your strength at points, instead of, well, you got exactly what I got, so what the fuck I need you for. It makes you so much more disposable it's already got what you got. We haven't built anything.
Actually, well, when you look at it, one of the biggest reasons that we all as people get divorced is over money. Mm-hmm. So, and with all those divorces, we can't even focus on building. Okay? So, I would not want to, this is me personally, I would not want to be with someone that I got to help build up, and then we build together from there. I'm good. That's a struggle. Again, I'm tired. I don't want to go through all of that. If he already has, what I have, then we can build, not worry about where we live, not worry about vehicles breaking down, not worry about money. Now, let's come together and let's build on top of that. We already have a solid foundation. I'm at the age where I don't want to start from square one. I don't. And at my age, we should be doing better because that was part of the problem. My grandparents, when they grew, they had property and everything else to pass down to the children, opposite of what you hear most of the time. They made sure that the children had, a financial future, and the men in their lives made sure of that. I'm following in their footsteps because I want to make sure my children, now grandchildren I have something for the future. Because, the way it's going is a necessity.
It's got to be difficult, because I'm sitting here thinking, wow, and I don't know why that the video ended. So if you was listening to the live stream, I did not do that. It just ended on its own. Apparently the powers that be, maybe Facebook just took it down for no reason. I don't know. Anyway, it's got to be being in a relationship with a black feminist has got to be ridiculous. Are y'all arguing over who takes the garbage out? Do you just have to pick days on every household chore? Is there certain, are you a black feminist with sort of kind of traditional ways when it comes to certain things, or is it black feminist 100% all the time? I don't need a man at all in my life. It's got to be. I know there's some women out there who identify with being a feminist who also are with a man. I need to know how that works.
See, I wouldn't say me personally am a feminist. But when I tap them on the shoulder and say, baby, I'm tired, that should be heard. I love cooking. I love doing household stuff. I do interior design. I love it. And I would like his help, too. Some of the stuff I couldn't reach, some of the stuff I wasn't strong enough to do, he handled. It's when I said, baby, I'm tired, and it's not heard. But when he's tired, I make sure that he's good. It has to flow both ways. I think when I get mad like that, I'm still not a feminist because for me, I love and need and want a black man. Period. End of sentence. There is nothing and no one that tops that. But I also realize that at this point in
feel all warm and fuzzy inside now. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, shoot. I still get retardedly goofy when I see a brother. Ooh, child, stop. But anyway, when at this point in time, I also realize the intricacies of being in a relationship, especially one that results in marriage. And I can honestly say I am personally tired. I do not wish to take on that responsibility. I want to be able to just do my own thing. I don't want to consider no one else in my home. I don't want no one else laying in my bed next to me. I don't want no one else using my shower. I don't want no one else sitting at my table. That's just where I'm at right now. I'm not interested. The sister tired. You got to give me some time to regroup, So, because it takes a lot. And he was someone that I saw myself growing old with. And also, I'm very afraid of that part in the vows that said, till death do us part. Because that's just not cool. You know, I never wish anybody to go through being a widow or a widower. And it's not like being separated. It's not like being divorced. It is the most hurtful, soul-tearing, you know, you want to kill yourself. So I'm not willing to do that again. I'm tired. The sisters got to rest. But that's just me. If the right man comes around, will I do it again? I'm going to have to find me someone to talk to and really, you know, hash it out, because it's going to, you know, move me in both directions of yes and no. You know, because I like to make sure that I'm okay before I step into something. And so if you're really, really doing the relationship and the relationship is all the way down to the soul level, that's work. That is work. And, you know, that's the type of love that's forever. You know, and he and I did talk about that. You know, if I passed away, he wanted, I told him I wanted him to move forward. He told me the same thing. But, you know, we joked about it because we didn't think that would ever happen. Ta-da! You know, so, and it was all of a sudden. It wasn't something long-lived and planned. No, it was all of a sudden. Kissed him goodbye in the morning. He told me that, you know, I'm his baby girl. He was 6'6". He picked me up, which I can't stand because I'm afraid of heights. He gave me a hug. He sang to me at lunchtime at 12 noon. Yeah, he used to do that all the time. At 12 noon, he sang, you know, to me, called me up, couldn't sing word for darn. You know, said I'll pick up the kids at 3. 3 o'clock came, no phone call. 4 o'clock came, they called to tell me he was dead. That's how it went.